Morning, this is Kasturi Day. Today I am discussing on the question answer section of element, compound and mixtures. Okay, I was discussing the question on what principle are the following methods of separation based, and give one example of a mixture for each of the methods mentioned in which they are used. Okay. So in the previous video, I explained about sublimation. I discussed about sublimation process and filtration process. Now today I'm going to start with sedimentation and decantation process. So on what principle these two processes depend? Sedimentation depends on that the heavy particles settle faster in a medium and the solid component, so that the solid component which is insoluble in the mixture settles down due to gravity. So due to gravity, the solid components, the heavy particles, they settle down at the bottom of the container. In a medium, they settle down faster. Okay. Then decantation principle is they separate two immiscible liquids or a liquid and a solid mixture. Okay, they separate two immiscible liquids, or they separate a liquid and a solid mixture. A liquid layer of liquid which is closer to the top of the container, separating from the precipitate or sediment, is paired off. Okay. So, the liquid which is closer to the top of the container, which is separating from the precipitate or the sediment which is settling down at the bottom of the container, the liquid which is above this sediment or the precipitate is paired off, is drained off in another container. This process is decantation. And this sedimentation and decantation process example is a mixture of sand and water. Okay. Now the solvent extraction method. In this method, the principle is the mixtures, in this mixture, that there should be two immiscible liquids and they depend their relatively solubilities. This solvent extraction method depend on their relative solubilities. Okay, like for example, drinking water or high quality river waters. Okay. So drinking water is separated from high quality river water. This process is solvent extraction methods. Then magnetic separation. The principle of one of the component of the mixture should be magnetic in nature. That is, they are attracted by the magnet. Okay. The principle is this. And then example is mixture of iron and sulfur. Then by using a separating funnel, the principle is the mixture should be immiscible liquids and they should differ in the densities. Okay, so mixture of kerosene oil and water. That's the example of this process. Next process is fractional distillation. Here the principle is there should be the liquids should be miscible liquids. Okay, the mixture should be made up of miscible liquids and they should differ in their boiling point. One evaporates at different temperatures. For example, petrol, kerosene, diesel, etc. are obtained from the crude petroleum oil by this fractional distillation process. What is an element? Name 5 elements and give their symbols. Then an element is a substance that cannot be split into simpler substances by a chemical means. Okay, by chemical means, an element cannot be split into simpler substances. For example, 5 elements like hydrogen, boron, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. Hydrogen symbol is capital H, boron capital B, carbon capital C, nitrogen capital N, oxygen capital O. Now what is a compound? And name 5 compounds and give their formula. A compound is a pure substance which is formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed ratio by mass. Or it can also be defined that it can also be split into simpler substances by a chemical means. Okay, so a compound is a pure substances which is formed by two or more elements in a fixed ratio by mass by combination in a chemical combination. Or it can be said in other way that a compound is a pure substance which can be split into simpler substances by a chemical means. Okay, now there are 5 compounds like water, whose formula is H2O, baking soda or sodium hydrogen carbonate, which is sodium NaHCO3, carbon dioxide CO2, then plaster of Paris CaSO4 dot half H2O, it's a hydrated calcium sulfate. Okay, then hydrochloric acid or hydrogen chloride, it is HCl. Okay, now if you kindle a mixture of 1 gram of hydrogen and oxygen, 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams of oxygen, will you obtain a pure substance or a mixture? Okay, will obtain a pure substance. Okay, if we kindle 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams of oxygen, we'll obtain a pure substance that is called a compound, which is water, and that's formula is H2O. Okay, now what is a mixture? A mixture is an impure substance, which is formed by mixing two or more pure substances. They may be elements or compounds, 2 or more elements or 2 or more compounds, or elements or compounds, in any proportion in such a way that they do not undergo any chemical change and they retain their individual properties as it can be separated into its constituents by means by a physical means. Constituents are the pure substances by a physical means like filtration, sublimation or distillation. So a mixture is an impure substance which can be formed by mixing of 2 or more pure substances. It may be elements or compounds in any proportion. Third point is any proportion. Fourth point is they do not undergo any chemical change. Fifth is they retain their individual characteristics and they can be separated into its constituent by any physical means. Okay, like filtration, sublimation, distillation, etc. Now classify the following into pure substances and mixtures. Now air is a mixture. Okay. Copper is a pure substance. Silver is a pure substance. A sugar solution is a mixture. Mud is a mixture. Sodium chloride is a pure substance. Then carbon dioxide is a pure substance. Water is a pure substance. Nitrogen is a pure substance. Iron is a pure substance. Oxygen is a pure substance. Ink is a mixture. Blood is a mixture. Gold is pure substance and zinc is a pure substance. Now what are the following called? A mixture with the same composition and properties throughout. It's a homogeneous mixture. A mixture, the different parts of which vary in composition and properties. It is heterogeneous mixture. Next is the solid that settles when a heterogeneous solid liquid mixture is allowed to stand. It is known as sediment. The liquid above the solid settling from the heterogeneous solid liquid mixture is known as supernatant liquid. Now name the following used to separate the pure water for a solution from a solution of salt. Okay, name the method used to separate pure water from a solution of salt. It is distillation. The components of what kind of mixture are separated by dissolution and evaporation? Give an example. The components should be solid-solid mixture. One of the components must be soluble. Okay. Two characteristics are there. One is the component should be solid-solid mixture. Another is one of the component must be soluble. Now give an example. Separating salt or sugar from sand. Okay. Now define immiscible liquids. Give an example. Two liquids are said to be immiscible if they are completely insoluble to each other. For example, mixture of oil and water. Okay. Now name three substances that can sublime, like iodine, ammonium chloride and naphthalene. Then name a method to separate the pigments of an ink, chromatography. Describe how filtration is done to separate water from sand. Okay, here a filter paper is taken which is fixed in the funnel, which is attached to the funnel is itself attached to a stand. Okay, and a beaker is placed beneath the funnel. First, the mixture is allowed to stand for some time. The mixture, that is water and sand mixture, is allowed to stand for some time. We can see after some time that the sand has settled down at the bottom and the water is as sediment, and the water is floating above the sand as the supernatant liquid. Okay, now a glass rod is placed on the funnel this way. A glass rod is placed on the funnel. Now, without disturbing the sand, the water is poured in the funnel slowly on the side of the rod into the funnel. The clear water passes the funnel and collects into the beaker beneath the funnel. So this water which has passed down into the beaker is the filtrate. Okay, and the sand which has been left inside the beaker before it has been before it has been poured, that was the sediment. But after pouring, we have poured the water inside the funnel, the sand which has come with the water and is present in that funnel in the filter paper is the residue. Okay, funnel with the filter paper cone which collects the residue. Okay, this way we can get the sand, and this is the filtrate, that is the water we have separated out. Now describe a simple experiment to carry out the distillation of water. I'll stop here. I'll carry on this question with this discussion in the next video. Please go through them. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Please write in the comment box. And if you like the video, press the like button. And if you are a new viewer to my channel, or if you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe so that you can get the notification of my video. Okay, thank you.